Hi, welcome to the Yarn and Yarns YouTube channel. My name is Angela and all of the places you can find me should be linked just below this video in the description box. I'm most active over on Instagram, where you'll find me as both Rainbow Ange and Yarn and Yarns. Here on the channel, for the most part, you'll find me chatting about my adventures in knitting and crochet and spinning. Occasionally I throw up a video about my life as a yarn shop owner. I own a small bricks and mortar yarn shop here in the small town of Penarth, which is just outside of Cardiff in South Wales in the UK. Thank you so much for joining me this week. I really do appreciate your company. We've had quite a few new subscribers over the last couple of weeks, so you're all very welcome here. It's nice to have you, and if you fancy introducing yourself and letting me know a little bit about you, then please leave a comment below. I'm always happy to chat to crafty people. And of course, if you have been here many times before, thank you so much for being a special part of the Yarn and Yarns community. Now, I say in the introduction there that for the most part you'll hear me chatting about my adventures in knitting and crochet and spinning. It probably hasn't escaped your notice that I'm currently trying to participate in Vlogtober, and the idea behind that is to upload a video every day or as often as you can through the month of October. There's bound to be a few other things that creep in through those vlogs, because that's just kind of like following my daily life really. If you don't have the time or the inclination to follow those vlogs, then please be assured that you won't miss out on anything. I'm saving all of the detailed chat about my projects and showing off my finished objects for these main vlog videos. It's a little bit confusing, isn't it? A lot of people call their episodes podcasts or episodes, and I call mine vlogs. So when we come to a vlogging month, it can be a little bit confusing, but yeah, my main vlog, of which of course this video is one. If you are watching the Vlogtober videos, then hopefully there won't be too much overlap of content. You'll see me working on a lot of my projects, you'll see them in progress, but yeah, hopefully there won't be too much duplication of content. So if you have been keeping up with Vlogtober, hopefully there'll be some things for you to take away from the video today. Before we get on to what I've been working on this week, I want to say a very big thank you to anyone who has been able to support this channel by donating through the Ko-fi page, and the link down below this video will take you there if you are interested in supporting the content that I put up here. So far, the donations there have enabled me to purchase a tripod, a microphone, and also I have a studio light on the way. So I'm very grateful to everyone who has been able to support in that way. If you're not able to, then I completely understand. There's no pressure and the channel will stay the same, and yeah, it's just there for people who had asked about it and who have the means to give that extra support. Since I last chatted to you about the coffee donations, I have received £21 in donations, so thank you so much. I'm keeping that set aside at the moment. I'm thinking about what to do with that money. A few people have said, go ahead, treat yourself, and if you watch today's vlog, I did spend a small amount on a little frivolous something for myself. And if you want me to, if you're not watching the vlogs and you want me to chat a little bit more about that next time, then please let me know. We're fast approaching our 100th episode, and in a couple of weeks' time I'll be attending the Knit Tea retreat here in Cardiff, and on Sunday there'll be a lovely little marketplace. So I'm contemplating perhaps using the coffee money as a little bit of a sort of sponsorship type fund, and perhaps picking up a prize, and maybe we can have a nice giveaway for the 100th episode. Hopefully you think that's a good idea, and as I say, it's something I'm thinking about at the moment. We have a Ravelry group for the podcast, and I've been a little bit remiss and I haven't popped over there for a good couple of weeks, so it's on my goal list this week to hop on over there and see what's been happening. So I apologise to anyone who's been active on that group. I haven't been ignoring you, it's just if you've watched the last sort of couple of main vlogs, you know that life was a little bit up and down for me for a couple of weeks, but feel like I'm back on track now. So the Ravelry group is next on my to-do list to catch up. I'm hosting a couple of knit-alongs over there at the moment. The first one is the Mount Pleasant knit-along, and I'm hosting that in conjunction with Ellie, who is Curio Yarns here on YouTube and is also the hand dyer behind the Curio Yarns yarn. And we are knitting along until the end of the year a Mount Pleasant tee, which is a design by Pippin Pin, Megan Nodecker, and it's basically a short-sleeved crop t-shirt type knit. You don't have to knit that pattern exactly. You can knit any 4-ply fingering weight short sleeve jumper really. So if you'd like to hop along on that knit along, there's still plenty of time. I'm also hosting another knit along because I know that garments might not be for everyone. And so if you don't want to participate in the Mount Pleasant, but you'd like to be part of a knit along, make along sort of chatter group, then I'm also hosting the Works in Progress CAL or MAL. It's really a MAL because you can include crochet projects if you want to, even spinning if you like. As long as your project had been started before the 1st of September, it'll be eligible for that CAL, and there's a chatter thread and a finished objects thread over in the Ravelry group, and I'll have prizes for both of those knit-alongs, make-alongs at the end of them, so please come along and join in the fun. Let's get cracking with all of the making content, shall we? I think we shall start with spinning today. I've got a spinning finished object and one almost finished object. It's finished to all intents and purposes, but I'll show you the one that is finished. So earlier this week, just for a little bit of fun, I decided to throw an art bat onto the wheel, and this little bat, I think it's 50 grams or so, was gifted to me by my lovely friend Jeanette, and I just needed a little bit of a palette cleanser. I'd been spinning that Ashford fibre that I showed off last week, and that felt like it took forever. So I thought it was time for a little bit of fun. There's a little bit of footage of me unwrapping the bat, I think on Vlogtober day 1, and that's quite a short video, so if you're interested in seeing the bat before I finish spinning it, then just hop on over and find a little section in that video. But the skein is finished, and here it is. It's so much fun. As you can see, there's tons of sparkle in this yarn. I spun it as a 2-ply because it's quite a textured yarn. I wasn't worried about keeping it consistent. I just span as it wanted to be. There seems to be lots of different fibres and a few really unusual things in the yarn. So I'm just going to unwrap it and see if I can find sort of some of the bits that I'm talking about. There's some, I don't know if it's going to be super obvious, but there was some sort of like, I don't really know how to describe this. It was almost like a sort of netting type fibre that was really added a really fun texture to the yarn, and every now and then there were little bumps of fluff. I'm just trying to find one of those which got sort of twisted in as I was spinning. So here we go, bits like this that were really sort of short sort of staple lengths of fibre that I just sort of like span in. There's another bit of that sort of netting. It's not netting, I can't really just think of a way to describe it. But yeah, let's stop trying to butcher this description. It was a really fun spin. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do with the yarn. There's lots of really fun colours in here. I have this idea in my head that I'd like to paint my bathroom, bear with me, a navy blue or a really deep blue, sort of like night sky blue. And this yarn is just very celestial to me. I think it's like all the sparkle, there's lots of sort of like deep black and charcoal colours, with these sort of like pops of brighter colours, which kind of reminds me of those glorious pictures you see of sort of nebula and things. So, and at the moment I seem to be obsessed with the idea of knitting lots of wall hangings. So I'm wondering if I do end up painting my bathroom, if this might become just like a really simple hanging with some sort of texture stitches thrown in every now and then. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Let me know what you think. Am I just completely crazy? Probably. I've also been spinning some merino fibre. My plan was to spin this fibre, and I recorded a little snippet of the start of my spinning journey with it back at the beginning of September, and then I got distracted by the Ashford fibre, but I still have that little clip that I recorded, so I think I'm going to put that in here, just to show you what the fibre looked like before I started spinning. I'm about to start this month's spin along for the Colourful Creativity spin along. I showed you the fibre a couple of episodes ago. I'm really excited about this one. So if you remember, I'm planning on spinning up this beautiful selection of fibre, which was sent to me by Caroline, who is the host of the spin along, and I am planning on spinning it up and hopefully making myself a pair of fingerless mitts from these gorgeous autumnal colours. I thought about a few different ways in which I could spin this, but the braid, when you sort of start to unwind it, is actually sort of 4 sections of fibre. So I'm going to do it the easy way, and I want to spin for 4-ply fingering weight. Mine's not going to be a 4-ply, but fingering weight. We often say 4-ply here in the UK when we really refer to a fingering weight yarn. So I'm going to split the braid right down and weigh each section. There's 85 grams in total, so hopefully there's about 20 grams of each fibre. And then I'm going to split each colour in half and spin for a 2-ply from each colour. I'm more likely to get the weight of yarn that I want from that. I haven't yet managed to get my skill level to the point where I can spin fine enough for a fingering weight 3-ply. So yeah, this is the start of my spin along braid of the month journey. Of course, I'll take you with me along the way as we go. So yeah, I've actually spun up all 4 colours now, and I've done them I think all this week. Yeah, it was quite nice to sit down. All of the bumps, the different colours, were around 20 grams each, so felt like a nice kind of amount to spin in one evening. I've 2-plied these yarns because my thought is to make some striped fingerless mitts. I've got two completed little skeins here to show you. This really nice, I thought it looked black, but I think now, and it's showing a bit lighter than it actually is in real life on the camera, but it's kind of like a walnutty, really deep kind of brown colour. And then there's the olivey green. The gold colour is actually hanging in my bathroom at the moment because I soaked it last night, but that's all spun up too. And then last night I sat and span the orange. As you can see, this is still on my niddy noddy. It needs to come off and go for a bath. But to all intents and purposes, the spin is finished. I just need to finish this one. But yeah, it's been a really nice spin. I've got a nice 2-ply. As I say, I'm quite pleased with my spinning and consistency for this one. The worst bump is probably actually the gold, which is currently drying. That fibre seemed a little bit compacted and it was quite difficult to draft evenly. So that one is probably the most inconsistent, but I think the other colours that I've spun up are relatively consistent, and I'm hoping, I've definitely got a 4-ply type yarn. It's nice and fine. So yeah, I'm hoping to knit myself a pair of fingerless mitts, sort of striping the colours as I go. That's my plan for that. The fibre was sent to me by Caroline, who is Colourful Creativity here on YouTube, and also the dyer behind Colourful Creativity Yarns. I need to think about my next spinning project because both my spindle and the wheel is empty at the moment after finishing that last bump of fibre. So I've got a couple of thoughts on that. So yeah, I thought perhaps I would just show you what I think is going to go on the wheel next and on the spindle. I purchased on D-Stash 200 grams of fibre from Fondant Fibre was the dyer, and I believe she might be back dyeing again. She was dyeing just yarn for a little while, but I think she's got fibre back in the shop again, if I understand correctly. But yeah, I picked this up on D-Stash. It's 200 grams. I'm not entirely sure of the fibre content. I'm not sure if it was on the listing, but I'll go back and check and see if I can find out. But it's a really nice kind of like natural base with these pops of like blue and beige and some purple thrown in. I think that'll be a really fun spin. And I think what I'd like to do, I tend to make up a few gift packages to send to various friends during December. So I thought with the 200 grams, I'm hoping that maybe I could get some 50-gram skeins of a probably a 3-ply double knit kind of weight to send off in some gift packages. So I think if I can get the meterage right, then 50 grams should be enough to knit a hat or a pair of wrist warmers or fingerless gloves or something like that. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts for that fibre. It'll probably take me a little while to spin through that, but I think if I do it in sort of like the 50-gram chunks, then it won't feel like too much of a drag. And it'll be nice to get that fibre out of my stash because I don't really have any plans for it. I haven't done any spindle spinning this week and I'm itching to get back to it. So I've got some beautiful Rolags. I don't know if you remember, a few weeks ago I spun up this really fun rainbow yarn from some Rolags that were gifted to me, again by Jeanette, who gifted the art bat that produced this really fun yarn. And I 2-plied this, and I mentioned that I really love this fibre and I was trying to 2-ply it to get the most out of it. And Jeanette said that she made these Rolags herself and that she would give me some more, which was amazing. Thank you so much, Jeanette. You're so generous and kind. But I have this nice pile of Rolags here. I loved spinning this fibre. It was like spinning, you know when you get those sort of like oily rainbow reflections in a puddle? It was just like spinning those sorts of colours. So I think I'm going to start these on my spindle this week. I spindle spun this one, so I thought it'd be nice to try and get something similar so that I could put them all together. But yeah, I'm excited for this spin. It'd be nice to have a nice bit of rainbow fun colour injection into my spinning. I've been spinning quite a lot of neutrals recently. So yeah. Onto crochet. I've got one work in progress to show you for crochet this week. Working away on my Babette's blanket. This was a project I started back at the start of the year, and it's basically lots of different sizes of sort of solid granny squares, all joined together at the end. The pattern's been around for a long time. I don't have the copy of the magazine that has it in front of me, so I can't show you the finished blanket, but I have been working away on some of my squares this week, and I've been working on the 6 round squares, and apart from sewing in ends, I've managed to finish 4 this week. So again, this is a 4-ply fingering weight type yarn. I'm using yarn from Cama Rose, so Cama Rose 100% organic wool. I think it's a Danish brand, and I picked this up at Loop in London. So one of my October goals was to work on this blanket, so I'm happy that I've started. However, I might have come across a stumbling block. So in this bag is all of the yarn that I have left, and I still have quite a lot of work to go. I originally purchased 2 balls of my 2 favourite colours, which were the mustard and the orange, and I've just wound up these second balls. And then I had 1 ball of each of a few different colours, and yeah, I'm getting perilously close to the end of most of those colours. So I'm not really able to purchase any more yarn at the moment this month. I have a couple of fibre acquisitions to show at the end of the video, so that, coupled with the fact that the Knit Tea retreat is coming up in a couple of weeks, my sort of for fun budget is blown this month. So I think my plan is just to carry on crocheting through what I have left, and then at some point in November or December I might hop onto the Loop website and see if they still carry this yarn. I was trying to decide whether I could pick out some leftovers or if I could match the colours with stuff that I already have, like either here at home or in the shop. But there are a couple of colours that, particularly this light pink, and even the sort of mauvey purple there, but I haven't really been able to find a close match to. So it may be that I end up, you know, just throwing in some extras to finish it off, but if possible I think I'd like to stick to the colour palette that you know, I've already sort of put into the blanket. I've made quite a few of the smaller squares, so yeah, I don't want to throw too much into this blanket. I wanted it to be obviously it's nice and colourful, but I wanted it to be a little bit more cohesive than some of the other scrappy blankets that I'm doing, so we'll see. But yeah, my plan for this week is to make a few more of these and see how far I get with the yarn that I have left. And then that might go on hiatus for a little while until I can figure out the next steps. So I was thinking I might be in need of a new crochet project soon. And while I was out and about today, I was scrolling through Instagram while I was waiting for my lunch to be prepared. And I found a cushion crochet along, Anna Nikopirowitz, I think is how you pronounce it. I'll put it on the bottom of the screen. I might be adding a little bit extra into her surname than is there. I've crocheted some of her patterns before, but looking at her Instagram, she's got this really fun cushion crochet along going on, made up of different blocks with different textures, and hop on over to her Instagram if you use Instagram, or her Ravelry designer page. I believe the cushion's going to be launched in different parts and it's free, and I think part 1 is out. So I'm contemplating starting that, because I think that might be a really fun project to do, particularly when I'm in the shop with my crochet group. If I pick some yarns that I've got in the shop, then I can work on it there. So we'll see. That's kind of ruminating in my mind at the moment. Finally, on to knitting. I've got 1 finished object and 2 works in progress to show you this week. The first finished object is one that I don't think you've even seen in progress. One of the projects that I wanted to make in October was a pair of bed socks for James's grandma. She requested a nice pair of cosy bed socks. She's in her 90s and her circulation is pretty bad at the moment, so she's getting really cold feet. So how could I refuse that request? I picked out a skein of yarn from my stash, Juniper Moon Farm Harriet, which is 100% baby alpaca. It's probably quite an extravagant yarn for a pair of socks, but it's so soft, and the alpaca means that it should be really nice and warm. So I thought as a special pair of socks I would go for it. This is a DK weight yarn, and I decided to go with a pattern that's actually in my up, down, all around stitch dictionary. I was just flicking through and I came across this pair of socks, and they're called the Woven Ladders Bed Socks. Originally knit in a sport weight yarn, but I figured there wouldn't be too much difference between the sport and the DK weight, and I whipped these out in a few days. They're a little bit damp at the moment. Oh, these are taking forever to dry. I washed them on Saturday. We're now getting towards the end of Monday and they're still pretty damp. So yeah, these are the socks. So they've got this really fun sort of slip stitch texture. It does make the shape of the sock look a bit weird, and I don't have blockers to fit these. James's Gran is a UK size 5 foot, which is smaller than mine, but I did find a willing volunteer at the shop who has a size 5, who put these on and they fit her great. The only sticking point was they were a little bit tight to get on over her foot, so that's probably the slip stitch pattern. But James's Gran is quite a slender lady, so I'm hoping these will be okay. But yeah, bed socks finished, and that's the yarn that I have left. So there's probably maybe 10-15 grams there, maybe slightly more. Pop all of the details up on the Ravelry project page for these, but yes, only a little bit of yarn left over. And yeah, I really want these to dry so I can put them in the post so that she can tell me if they fit okay, and hopefully they will be able to start warming up her feet. And then I have 2 works in progress to show you. The first one, I'm desperately knitting away just below the screen to try and get to the end of a row. I was knitting away on this while I was chatting with you during the introduction, so yeah, when I had to start picking things up, of course I was halfway through a row, so as you can tell I'm stalling until I get to the end. This project I am knitting as one of the many projects that I'll be working on for the lovely Luli's Knit 1000 Grams knit along. You can find all the details about that knit along over on the Luli Ravelry group. But I grabbed a sock blank that I've had in my stash for quite some time. It was a lovely hand printed sock blank from Gail's Art, and this was gifted to me as part of a podcast prize a few years ago. As you can see, I've got not much of the blank left, but it was beautiful. It had these leaves printed all up the blank, and I thought it was high time to get this out of my stash and actually make something with it. So I was inspired by Lee, who sometimes knits these sock tubes and then sort of cuts them down into several pairs of socks. So I am copying that idea, and this is my Knit 1000 Grams sock tube. So yeah, I have really almost finished the blank. So this is where I was last time I showed you, which I'm not sure, maybe last week or the week before. So I've knit quite a lot. This is my just now round and round stockingette whenever I need something mindless to do project. And yeah, hopefully I should get the tube finished this week. My aim is to knit to where the colour change happens for this yellow, and then I'll put in another cuff. So I started with a 2x2 ribbed cuff, so I'm going to end with a 2x2 ribbed cuff. Then I shall block this out. It's a little bit wiggly giggly and textured because I'm knitting it straight from the blank, and as you can see it's quite sort of springy. So I shall soak this, try and even out some of the wiggliness, and then I shall start cutting up the tube and pop in some toes and heels and all that good stuff. I am kind of hoping that I will get for myself out of this beautiful yarn, because I just love how it's knit up, 1 pair of my normal length socks. I am hoping to maybe then also get a pair of Rose City rollers. For those I might have to sort of pick up and knit a few rounds and then cast off for the sort of top of the sock to make them roll. And then also I'd quite like to get a couple of wrist warmers. I like wearing wrist warmers in the winter. We'll see how it goes. I'll have to obviously count up these rows and see what I get, but maybe I'd be able to squeeze out some wrist warmers as well. So that's kind of the idea at the moment, but we'll see. That is living in my spooky gothic Halloweeny project bag, which I made a couple of years ago. I love this bag so much. I love that raven. But there's skulls and poison bottles and all sorts of fun stuff on that fabric. So yes, this finishing this sock tube is one of my October goals as well. So hopefully this might be my next finished project. And then finally, the last project, which has seen a lot of my knitting time this week, is my Canady shawl. This is a pattern by Bristol Ivy. I spoke about it last week, so I won't go into too much detail, but I'm basically knitting the last but one section, and it's the biggest section of the project. And oh boy, I have put a lot of effort into this, but there's still a long way to go. So last week, it's really difficult to show you because I'm working short rows and I can't spread the project out because I'm zipping up sort of two sides of the project. So there's always live stitches this side and this side until I finish the rows. So yeah, I can't spread it out along the needles. But last week, I'm working on this orange section. I moved my marker up and this is where I was. So I have knit this giant section. So from here up to here. So far, I have used 3 balls of this felted tweed in the ginger colourway. All of the other sections used less than 1 ball. So that kind of shows you how big this section is. And I've run out of yarn again. I do luckily have some more of this in this beautiful project bag, which just happens to be right next to me, which was a gift from my lovely friend Pam. Hi Pamela, if you're watching. And this houses my Ragnar sweater, which I'm also using. If you remember, I don't know if you remember this, it's been a while since it's been out, but it's this colourwork sort of shrug. I'm also using the ginger colour, so I might just snaffle a ball of ginger from this project to finish off the Canady, and then I think I've got some more ginger at the shop. So yeah. I really want to get this Canady finished as well. I still have my lovely skein of handspun here, which is my incentive if I get through my October goals. So although this is feeling like a bit of a slog, I'm feeling motivated because I want to cast on a storm shawl. So yeah, send all your motivational thoughts and wishes my way, please. I would really like to have the main part of the knitting done on this by the end of this week. The border is a massive undertaking under itself. Although it's not many rows, you end up having to pick round the whole big rectangle, and it's something like 700 and odd stitches. So that will be another at least week's work. But I really want to have the main body of this done this week. So yeah, send all your motivational thoughts and all of your good wishes for speedy knitting my way, please. And then finally, before I leave, I do have a small acquisitions segment this week. And some of this I did show on one of my Vlogtober videos, but I thought it'd be worth showing you again because they're so beautiful. And the other half I forgot to show on the Vlogtober anyway, so it'll be new. I ordered, along with my friend Caroline, who is coming to visit for the Knit Tea retreat in a couple of weeks, some fibre. So Caroline contacted me and said, could she have a few parcels sent to my house ready to pick up when she arrives? Of course she can, because saves on postage. And she said to me, by the way, would you like to check out the websites that I'm ordering from? Because, you know, if you want to order anything yourself, we can split the postage costs. So who was I to deny helping out a friend in that way? So first off, we ordered from Spin Jones, and this is the fibre that I did show in Vlogtober. So I won't dwell on it too long in case you are watching those videos. But I ordered 2 100-gram braids of her merino, bamboo and mulberry silk blend, and I got 2 colourways. First is Kingfisher, which is this gorgeous combination of tealy blues, greens, and there's a really vibrant yellowy orange, and there's some browns in there too. So yeah, can't wait to spin that out. That one's really lovely and vibrant. And then secondly, I got Moroccan Lantern, which is some beautiful, beautiful sort of fuchsia pinks and purples, along with the brown and the yellow, again, that's featured in the Kingfisher, is also in this one. So yeah, they should be really fun to spin up. So that was the order from Spin Jones. And then we also ordered from Spindles and Stitches. And I ordered 1 braid and 2 sets of Rolags, and I ordered this 100% merino braid in the Lazy Sunday colourway, which seems perfect because we often have lazy Sundays in this household. And look at that. Oh, it's so gorgeous, and it comes just in this really, really cute little sort of braided circle. It's just adorable. I love it. I was so tempted to make this my next spin, but I think I want to savour it in my stash for a little while and enjoy the beautiful colours before I dive into it. And then I got 2 sets of Rolags. The first one is a combination of merino and sari silk. I've not really spun with sari silk before. I'm just really interested to see what sort of textures that I could get. I've seen some other yarns that have been spun with it in, and they almost had like a tweedy effect to them. So it's this beautiful grey colour. I'm not going to get these ones out of the packet, with these shots of lovely sari silk making up the colours throughout. So I think these will be spun up fairly soon. And I also got a 100% merino, a set of Rolags in the gelato colourway, which are these lovely pinks and browns. I don't often go for sort of pinky colours because they're not 100% my wheelhouse, but I do like spinning from Rolags, and I loved the combination of the pink and the brown. And again, if I can get this right, then they might make something really nice and fun, self-striping. Or I could go a little bit crazy and try and sort of split these down and maybe get some Barber poling all the way through. So I'll have a think about that, but I think that's a beautiful colour combination. And I also wanted to quickly show you the beautiful packaging. This is Caroline's order. I've repackaged it, but look at this tissue paper. It's got these gorgeous sort of llamas or alpacas, whichever you like to think of it. I think they're llamas. But yeah, it was just so cutely packaged. And she also put in some tea and a couple of sample fibres as well. So yes, this is why I have no money to spend on the Camel Rose yarn for my crochet blanket. But that's okay, that's okay. I can save for that. Right, I'm going to wrap things up here. I really do hope that I can continue Vlogtober because I'm enjoying it so far. Thank you for your support with those videos if you are watching. I hope that you're able to have a wonderful week and get to do some of the things that you enjoy. Until next time, great big woolly hugs to you all. Bye for now.